These are my top five dream fights for the UFC in 2025. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my top five dream fights in the UFC this year, 2025. There's a lot of fights that could happen. Um, Whether or not they do is another story, but these are the ones that I'm going to be focusing on today. Um, the ones that I want to see personally, whether you do or not, is another thing. But these are the ones that I personally would like to see in 2025. We're going to start off with number five, and then work our way up to number one. So kicking off number five, Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. This is a fight that I really want to see. I do think Kayla Harrison wins the bantamweight title at some point this year against Juliana Pena. There's a bit of history there with Amanda Nunes, obviously former training partners, and with Kayla's latest win back in October at 307. You had Amanda Nunes online posting things, potentially, eyeing comeback, and I think a comeback for Nunes would have was something that was always going to happen if the right opponent came up. I think she cleared her division. She cleared both divisions. Obviously, the greatest of all time. Avenged her loss to Juliana Pena and got her title back. Did all those things. She's clearly the greatest um, women's fighter of all time, no doubt. She beat all the greats, beat Rousey, beat Tate. I can't even sit here and list them all off because it's ridiculous. The way she finished opponents and those sort of things is incredible. But I do think she will return if Amanda Nunes wins. If Kayla Harrison wins that title against Juliana Pena later this year, I do think Amanda Nunes will make a return, and that sets up arguably the biggest women's fight of all time in any weight class. I don't know how you could see anything being bigger than that.
G'day guys, Josh here for From the Stands. I'm just here to interrupt this video quickly to let you guys know about the sponsor of today's video, TrainAid. TrainAid and their proven line of supplements, including their signature product, TrainAid Hydration, are used by combat sports stars all over the world. Many UFC and boxing world champions are all using TrainAid to help fuel their workouts. TrainAid have been kind enough to give us a big discount code for all of our viewers to use when you guys shop online. If you use the code FTS15 at checkout, you'll receive 15% off all supplements and apparel on the TrainAid website. Head to trainaid.com or click the link in the description of this video.
But yeah, that would be a fight that you could nearly main event that as a pay-per-view, and you'd be okay. I'd be okay with that as a main event. That'd be pretty good. Kayla's pretty good on the mic. She sells pay-per-views pretty well. She sells fights really well. And so does Amanda. And what a success story it's been for Kayla since leaving the PFL. Really making her mark in the UFC. So it's great to see. Number four is Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Now, take it for what you will. This is really just Khamzat Chimaev fighting for the middleweight title. Next month, we have Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland 2. Whoever wins that is the fight I want to see. At the moment, as it stands today, we're a month out from UFC 312. It's Dricus du Plessis. So that is the fight I do want to see. I want to see Khamzat Chimaev finally get his title shot. He's been in the UFC since October of 2020, and he was a guy who we thought would be fighting for a title within a year, or maybe max year and a half, 2 years even. And it's been now, this will be his fifth year in the UFC, and he still hasn't fought for a UFC title. He is definitely the number one contender after this fight, after what he did to Robert Whittaker in late October, which was, one of the most impressive performances of last year. You could say it, if there was an award for that, he's winning, I think, all day long. What he did against Whittaker was incredible. He rightfully deserves a shot at the middleweight title. Whether it's Dricus du Plessis or Sean Strickland, that remains to be seen. I'm really interested to see how this rematch is going to go in Sydney. I had Sean Strickland winning that first fight back in Toronto of Vancouver, where it was in January of last year at 297. 297. Yeah, I had Strickland winning that, edging it just by a bee's dick. I had him winning that fight. So I'm really interested to see how this rematch is going to go. I think Dricus is only gaining confidence, especially after a win against Izzy. But I mean, Strickland beat Izzy as well. So, I mean, you could almost say it was more impressive, Strickland's win, because it was just so one-sided. Dricus's win was obviously very impressive as well. Got the finish. So, I mean, they're very on par. I think they're two very evenly matched fighters, Dricus and Strickland. But I just want to see Khamzat Chimaev finally fight for a UFC title, and I want to honestly, I think he becomes champion. He is just that damn good, especially if he can get through the sickness and everything else, and his visa's all good, and he can fight everywhere around the world, and there's no restrictions on where he can fight, what countries. He's going to be a middleweight champion for some years. I don't see who beat. I can't see anyone beating him. I really can't. I mean, his closest fight today was against Gilbert Burns, and he hasn't had one since. So I want to see Khamzat Chimaev get that title shot in 2025. Number three is Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria. That is a fight that I really want to see. Uh, I was tossing up between this one and number one. Then I number two sort of they're all very close. The top three are very close. It could be interchangeable really. Islam Makhachev though versus Ilia Topuria is a fight I want to see very, very badly this year. I know Islam has said that he doesn't want to give the smaller guys a shot at his title because he wants to go up and he wants to go to 170 and get two belts. And Bilal Muhammad retains his title against Shavkat, then it's probably not going to happen. But if Shavkat was to win, then you might get Islam versus Shavkat, which is a fantastic fight. But what Ilia Topuria has done at 145 pounds in the length of time that he's done it, I think he is the biggest threat to Islam Makhachev at lightweight. At the time, Volk put on a very good performance. I had Volk edging that fight against Islam. Ultimately, he didn't get the win, and then they ran it back, and we all know what's happened. Volk got flatlined, but I think Ilia Topuria has the power. Especially, he has insane power at 145. I think that power would easily generate at 155 uh, against Islam. And Islam's been caught before. I mean, Islam goes to those. He can get drawn out in those dog fights like he had with Volk in the first one, like he had with Dustin just recently. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I mean, this is predicated on Islam getting through Arman Sarukian again next week. I think he will. I think Islam really is just levels above everyone else. I think Arman's right there, but I think Islam is a whole nother level. I think Ilya would have to probably. He doesn't have to do anything actually. I think he could. I think he could jump straight into a title fight exactly like Volk did. Um, he's so young. He's marketed. That fight would just be the one I really want to see. Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title. Imagine Ilia Topuria wins. He does what Volk couldn't do. Becomes double champion. I mean, shit. There's nothing stopping him getting to 170 as well. But then again, Islam could win 170. So it's all predicated on a couple things, a couple moving pieces that have to align. Islam has to win next week. Bilal has to win against Shavkat. Then you get this fight. That this fight is a real possibility if those two things happen. If Islam wins and Bilal wins, we'll get this fight. If Islam wins and Shavkat wins against Bilal, then we won't be getting Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev because I think Islam will go up to 170. Number two is John Jones versus Alex Pereira. This is a fight. I was tossing up between one and two could be pretty much the same. They both have John Jones in it. I think you know who number one will be. This fight, I don't know if this fight happens. Um, I think the previous three have all very realistic possibility of happening. This one, I don't know. This is more of like a 50-50. I don't know if this fight actually does happen, John Jones and Alex Pereira. But I mean, if Jones gets through Aspinall, um, hopefully that fight gets made, then why not have John Jones, Alex Pereira? I mean, Alex is going to fight Magomed, so he needs to get through that. But after Magomed, there's not much left for him at light heavyweight. He has demolished the whole top five with the win over Magomed. There's no one left. There really isn't. And it would be Jones's retirement fight. He would have won his fight against Aspinall. Like Dana said, he will make the Pereira fight if both guys want it, and Jones is finished with Aspinall. So This one I don't know. Maybe it's more of a 2026 conversation. Maybe it's a end of 2025 conversation. But I definitely really would love to see Jones, Pereira, two behemoths. I mean, six gun Gibson. John Jones' coach the other day, we were talking and on our interview on the channel, and he was sort of saying that that is a really exciting matchup. And at the moment, retirement, Aspinall, and Pereira are all three of them are strong options for Jones and his career at the moment. So, I mean, those guys are seriously looking at Pereira, and if he gets through Tom Aspinall, hopefully in National Fight Week, if he gets through Tom Aspinall, then that fight is the biggest fight in the UFC's history by far. Both guys, two weight world champions. Pereira middleweight, light heavyweight. Jones light heavyweight, heavyweight. Oh, it would be incredible. Both similar body structures. Like Jones, obviously a bit heavier now, but he still rides around that 235, 240 mark. Pereira at heavyweight, he would sort of sit at that 230 mark. He's such a big guy for light heavyweight. It's insane to believe that he ever made 185. But number two is John Jones, Alex Pereira. Number one is John Jones, Tom Aspinall. I really want to see John Jones, Tom Aspinall more than anything. I really hope John doesn't retire. Uh, Everything's up in the air right now. I don't think anything's concrete. Obviously, the 30 million that was put out there by Rogan ended up not being true, and Dana disputed that fact that it was 30 million and all that sort of stuff. So John's asking price for the fight being 30 million was incorrect. Um, but how can you not want to see this fight? John Jones and Tom Aspinall has to happen. If John stays, he has to do the Aspinall fight, which I think he will. I really think he'll stick around. Speaking with Brandon the other day, Brandon Gibson, Jones' long time friend, long time coach. The first, one of the things he said was, we're preparing for our next goal in mind. One of the first things he said. And I don't think you're preparing for a goal in mind if you're looking at retirement. If you're looking at retirement, you're not really thinking about fights. You're on the back. You're not considering goals and that sort of stuff. You're looking at your life post fighting. I do think this fight happens. I think International Fight Week makes a lot of sense. I mean, pay Jones a bucket load. He's well and truly earned it. Give him the money that he wanted when they fought. If he were to fight Francis some years ago. I do think Jones beats Aspinall. I think he's just that good. I think he's not that good. He is the best in the world. He's the best ever at any weight class in any promotion. Jones is the best, and I just don't think Aspinall has enough experience yet to beat a guy like John Jones. I want to see the fight 100%. I think it does big numbers, maybe the biggest pay-per-view in some years. Until Jones versus Pereira comes about, I think that would top that. But Jones versus Aspinall definitely has to happen if Jones stays around. That is my number one pick. I think it does happen. I think it happens in International Fight Week because you can't have Aspinall waiting for 2 years for this fight. It's got to happen. Something's got to give. So I think we'll find out within the next two months. I think we'll get an answer from Jones as to what is happening with his career and with the heavyweight division. But they are my top five. So I'll go through them again. Number 5 being Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes. Number 4, Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus du Plessis. Number 3, Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. Number 2, John Jones versus Alex Pereira. Number 1, John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Guys, if you can give me your top 5 fights that you want to see this year, leave them below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what are some dream fights you guys would like to see. Again, whether or not these all get made is another thing, but these are the ones that I hope to see this year in 2025. Guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. I appreciate it if you could like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us a ton. It helps us grow and helps us continue to make more of these videos. So until next time, guys, cheers.